Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today we've got our Echo 56 volt E-Force battery chainsaw back out here. And I just wanted to do a quick little fun video. Echo has some pretty good claims on this as far as their battery life goes. What they claim is that it can make up to 200 cuts in a 4x4 piece of lumber. So a lot of other companies and stuff, you know, they have these claims about how long their battery lasts, and they always kind of reference it to, you know, either a 4x4 or a 6x6 piece of lumber. So today we've got a fully charged battery, and we've got a new chain, and we've got our 4x4 piece of lumber. So we're going to go through this and we're going to see if we can get 200 cuts on one battery. So what I'm going to do is just as fast as I can and just keep it going the whole time and just see if we get close to that 200 number. So as you can see, we have a fully charged battery. Actually just came off the charger. So we're going to jump right into this and see how far it'll go. Had to stop and retighten up my clamps. Well, we got far enough to have to readjust the length of our log. So we are at 53 cuts right there. We are down to 2 bars. And this was an 8-foot long 4x4, and I'm surprised. I figured 200 cuts I'd be able to get that on that 8-foot section. I know we've made a lot of cuts, but we're going to keep going. I have another one here, but it's actually a treated 4x4, so it'll be a little different wood, but still give us a pretty good idea. We're going to have to put us another board up here. It's what's left of our 8-foot 4x4. So I originally got this treated 4x4 to see if it made any difference in a untreated versus this treated 4x4. You know, I thought I could get 200 cuts out of that one piece of wood. I'd say we're pretty close to it. I haven't counted them up just yet. I know we were at 53 before the last time that I counted, and I've cut at least another 70 or so since then. So before I go and count all this up, I'm going to go ahead and finish off this battery. We had 2 bars left on it just a minute ago, So we've still got some cutting to do. Well, it hasn't died yet. I can hear it slowing down, but I ran out of board again. So I've got to move it, but I'm betting that when I come back to start cutting again that the battery might be dead. Oh. There it is. So I can hear it slowing down as I'm getting there. Probably the last 10 or 12 cuts or so, I could actually hear it starting to slow down just a little bit. So we're going to see if it'll run any more than that. Nope, that's it right there. You can probably hear it click whenever I go to pull the trigger. That's the safety on it, not allowing the saw to keep running. And if you look at the battery, it ran it completely down to no bars at all. So this was pretty much continuous run. The battery is probably, I don't know, it's what you'd call lukewarm. It's not hot at all, but it's just kind of, just a little bit warm. But it's definitely not hot. I don't know if it would have to sit on delay for a few minutes for let the temperature to come down before you can charge it, but it doesn't feel like that it's hot enough to have to really worry about. So I don't know how many cuts this is just yet, but I am going to go ahead and count these right now and see how many pieces we actually have here and see how close we are to 200. So right here's 150 pieces so far, and we still have all this stuff over here left to count. I have to say, I am really surprised at the results of this. It's not very often that a manufacturer claims that a product will do something and then it actually does that and exceeds what it says. This thing cut 254 cuts. Now that's the pieces that I have that I actually collected and counted, and I'm pretty sure there's a few more because there were some that I actually cut and it was pretty much just the bar width, and then I didn't have a piece to count. 254 pieces is what I've got collected laying here on the ground. Their claim says up to 200 cuts in a 4x4 piece of lumber. I think that they definitely exceeded that. I also did not have any issues with the battery trying to cut out or quit. I know in a previous video I was using the saw and the battery quit, or the saw quit running for a minute, and I pulled the battery out and put it back in and then had no more problems with it. I did not have that issue at all with this, and I ran this thing pretty much from full to dead. I only stopped a few times to readjust my pieces of wood, and that was only for a minute or 2 minutes at a time. So the other times, all those cuts were all consecutive and just running the saw constant. And it ran the battery all the way down to 0 bars. It had no lights on it whatsoever, which I find that actually pretty good. I like that it does that, because you know that you're kind of getting all your battery use. I've seen a lot of battery saws will have 4 bars, but when it gets down to the last bar, that's dead, and it'll always show that last bar on it. So it feels like it, you almost don't get your full capacity because of that light being on. May not be the case at all, but it just kind of gives you that thought in your mind. It's always in my mind anyways, that, man, I didn't get all my battery life. The battery shut off before it was actually dead. I know they do that for protection purposes on a lot of them, and that's just the way that they're designed, but this one actually will run it all the way down to no bars. It just makes me feel like I'm getting more for what I'm paying for. Or just a couple things real quick. My batteries are going dead on my camera. It's actually the end of a long day. I've been doing a whole bunch of projects around here. I videoed some, didn't get a video others. Some questions that people have asked about this saw. One that I actually had just the other day, they asked if this was actually a professional grade. Echo does not claim this as being a professional grade. They have their X series, which is their professional grade, and then they basically have just their regular series. And this one is not included in that X series. They do have a top handle saw. I can't remember what the number is on it, but they do have the top handle saw that is in their X series line or professional line of chainsaws. So I answered actually one of the other questions just a minute ago. I've been asked if I've had any more trouble with the battery cutting out because of that one video I did. And no, I've not had any more problems with that. I think maybe it's just one of those things. Maybe it didn't have a good connection or something. And maybe, who knows, a piece of sawdust or something in there, and I pulled it out, put it back in, and it's worked fine ever since. Also, a lot of people are asking about the chain. Now, the chain on this is a 50 thousandths wide, 3/8 pitch, low profile. And some people have asked about putting like a full chisel chain on it and, like a full standard chain. I don't know. I'm sure Echo doesn't recommend doing that because of the load on the electric motor and the battery and all that. If you put more and more strain on it, it is going to cause the motor and the battery to heat up more. It might be a test in the future though, because I am curious myself of how that would actually hold up and how well it would cut. The chain that is on here is not one of those real super safety chains where it's got the weird rakers on it that, is like a real low kickback chain. It is just a low profile chain, which attributes to it being a low kickback chain. So far, not any of these battery saws I have seen does not come with anything more than a 3/8 low profile, and a lot of them actually have only a 43 thousandths chain on it. So my battery just died in my microphone and cut off the last few minutes of this video. So bear with me on the audio right now. You might get a little bit of wind noise because I'm trying to just use the camera microphone here for a second. But to my knowledge, there's not any of these battery saws until this one. Maybe Ego actually might do it, but usually they have that little 43 thousandths chain. To my knowledge, there's none of them that do anything other than a low profile chain. And then this one does the 50 thousandths low profile, which kind of serves as a low kickback because it doesn't have a big bite and it doesn't have a full chisel. It's a semi-chisel chain, but to my knowledge, nobody does that. And if you change that, I think it will build more heat in the battery and the motor both. So you have to really be cautious about that because it could really hurt your battery life if you make it too aggressive, which might be for a test in the future because, I am curious about it myself and how much of a difference it could make in the battery life. So anyways, if you've enjoyed today's video, I really appreciate you hitting that thumbs up button. It really goes a long way in helping out the channel. Also, I appreciate you going ahead and subscribing to the channel. And when you do, make sure to hit that little bell icon so you get notifications whenever I upload new videos. That way you'll stay informed on new products and reviews and all the projects we have going on around the property. Thanks for checking out the video today, and we'll see you on the next one.